can only be one. Hey guys, we're again back at another tutorial in Photoshop, and as I said, we're using these first few tutorials to kind of just get you started. Let me just remove new here. Right, now the last time we were here we actually started to create a new document, which was 1366 by 768 according to my desktop resolution. I mean, most resolutions nowadays are like that. So today I want to kind of just cover the selection tools in their most basic and primitive forms, and we'll cover them more as we get along, and we do some tutorials, so both of us will just get along and we just work through those things. Now I'd say the best way to learn anything actually is to keep practicing. As they always say, practice makes improvement. Well, that's what I say, because only God is perfect. Alright, let's continue. So the first set of tools we're going to look at are these set here, and I'm going to just play around a little bit. Now the first thing I want you to realize is down here, this is where you'll get most of your colors from. So this is your foreground color, the one at the front, and the background color is the one at the back. Notice it says background color, and that same background color is the same one that corresponds with the background contents being background color there. So whatever you set your background color to, that's what you can actually start out with that color instead. So let's look through. First set of tools, selection tools. Let me just get down to it. In the previous lesson we kind of just touched on it, that you have some selection tools here. Here you're gonna have your bitmap tools, which we'll be getting into eventually, your vector tools, and also your navigation tools. So we're going to look at the selection tools. Now your selection actually allows you to pick colors, to select certain areas of your document, to do a bunch of different things. Just taking you through them. Let's look at the eyedropper tool first. Now your eyedropper tool allows you to pick out a certain color. So for instance, our interface has several different colors here, well, mostly gray and black and white. But if we're to just click on the white area, we get the white area. If we're just clicking and just dragging, we can get the different colors. And it doesn't just stay within your interface. No. If we were to kind of just shrink this slightly and just click, hold and drag and just carry it out, you will see that the foreground color is just taking on the colors of all those other different interfaces. I mean, colors of the different interfaces. Alright, so let's just continue. Now we also have in here, and you'll notice that it's expandable. So every single tool you see with these little arrows here is expandable. So looking at the color sampler tool, you're able to sample 4 colors. Usually they're on your document, so I'm going to use my paintbrush just to kind of just drop in some colors there. Maybe some red, maybe blue, right? Well, that's not blue at all, that's white. Maybe a blue, and some green, and yellow. Now your color sampler tool allows you to sample at least 4 colors, and you can check your sample size by point sample or by averages. Right, I'll leave you to play with those. So click, notice you will see number 1. It shows you the number 1 value and the values in RGB, red, green, blue, and you can see that red is at the highest, which tells you it's more red than anything else. Click on the second one, you have a majority of blue here, majority of green and yellow, which you kind of get a mix of red and green with no blue at all. Alright, so your color sampler allows you to select or sample 4 different colors. From there you can actually go to your colors here, and based on these samples you can always play around with your RGB values here, red, green, blue values, which also do correspond with the other types of colors they have. Now 4 is the maximum. If you try to hit another one, you get a little dialog box says could not create a new sampler because the maximum samples is 4. I don't know if they've increased that in the new version, but as I had previously stated, I'm using Adobe CS5.1, and once we're done with those, we can actually just get rid of them. Right, clear, and I'll just undo all these. Now, we're used to pressing Ctrl Z to undo, and I should point this out first. But in Photoshop, Ctrl Z actually just does an undo and a redo. Right, so you can toggle the undo, redo state, or backward, forward state. If you want to keep undoing now, it's Ctrl Alt and Z, and you can keep going back, and so on and so forth. You can always look at the options up here, and you will see the shortcut in the edit: undo state change, step forward, step backwards. Right? So Shift Ctrl Z, and Ctrl Alt Z. Right? You can always play around with those options. So that's that part of the tool. Now we have another one. We have the crop tool, and cropping is very important. I'm going to give you a demonstration. If, for instance, you have an image, right, and you want to just get a particular area of that image. Let's say I took this picture. Did this on DeviantArt, if I remember correctly. If I want to just crop out the face, you can use the crop tool to kind of select an area that you want to keep. Once you are okay with that, you just tick it and it crops it, creating a new image. Afterwards, you can actually go ahead and press Save As, and save it as an image. I have a hipster one. I'll probably say hipster head, and I get a separate image. Right? I don't need to save that, but if I were to try and open it again, I'll have one here and another one there. This is the cropped one. So cropping allows you to just select an area of pixels, deleting the rest of it and keeping the part that is selected, creating a new size, new width, new height, new properties altogether. Now, besides the crop tool, you have slice tool and slice select tool. I'm not going to touch those yet because that has to do with mostly when people are designing websites, they usually stick with this slice tool, allowing them to kind of just cut out the parts that they need for specific areas of the website. It can be used for other purposes as well, interface design or any other thing, but I'm not going to touch that one as yet. Now we have also these tools, the Marquee tool, some of the most common selection tools that we have. Now your marquee allows you to create a shape. Now this one is the rectangular marquee tool. And if you're wondering how I'm able to grab out all these, is click and hold and you'll get an option of them. Or you can just simply right click. Right? And you get that, a rectangular marquee, and you know it's a selection because you have the ants. Well, I call them ants anyway. Marching ants. Right? Now every single tool has properties. If you look up here, you'll see a bunch of different properties like refining the edge, checking the style, whether it's normal, fixed ratio, fixed size, changing the feathering. We're going to get to feathering later. You also have different ways you can create selections. Now, by default, you can create a new selection simply by creating a new selection. If you want to add to your selection, which means to increase the area, you can actually just click on that or hold Shift, and that will have the plus button, and you can actually add to your selected area. Keep adding, etc. You can also subtract from it. So if you're not comfortable with all these, you can always just take out some of them. And the last one is multiply, which like in set theory is like an intersection, taking two intersecting parts, and if we were to like take this with kind of like a diamond shape. So if we were to do this now and intersect these two shapes, we get just the inside, and that's the intersect. Now this tool isn't just for the rectangular selection tool. You can actually use the ellipse marquee tool and just choose to add a selection with it as well, like so. Right, and you'll notice that the style is normal right now. If we chose fixed size, we get something like this. If you just draw a particular size just like that, and I guess you could just drop it there if you wanted to. If you wanted fixed ratio now, this is where this part comes in. Width and height is the same ratio, which means I'm gonna get that kind of a ratio, which means they're gonna be equal. Now another way you can do this is just simply by holding Shift. Well, especially it works with a new marquee selection, but you can actually hold shift and get a selection just like that, right? So I'm adding to my selection. If I hold alt, I can subtract from my selection, and if I hold shift, I can actually get the same radius there, or the same width and height throughout. I can actually go ahead and still remove stuff as well, and I'll get that. Now let's just recoup or recap. Too much chicken today. Alright, so we're creating a selection, 1. Adding to selection is holding shift. Subtracting from selection is holding alt. And creating an intersection is shift and alt. You're going to want to know these shortcuts because when we get to the layers, those shortcuts are going to be very useful. So that's how you create the selection. The next one now you have is the move tool. Now the move tool will work, and I'm going to show you an example using my brush tool. I'm going to create a cyan colored dot there. Now I'm going to bring up the layers just for a moment. Now right now this background is our background layer. Right now it's just by itself. Right? You can't exactly move it because the layer is locked. If you want to unlock the background layer, double click, press OK. Now this is the background layer. I can actually use the move tool to move it now that it's unlocked. Right? And you can actually just check that your move tool has auto select layers on. That way when we add more layers later on, you won't have any issues just clicking and holding and dragging those layers instead of actually going over here and pressing them up. The next set of tools we have is the Lasso tool. Allows to make a freeform selection. Right? The next one afterwards is the polygonal lasso tool, which allows to select by polygons. And now you have the magnetic lasso tool. Control D to deselect. Magnetic lasso tool works a little interestingly. It kind of just finds the contrast between two colors and kind of just magnetizes itself to it. So you realize that I'm just actually just not hovering actually. I'm not clicking, it's just drawing the nodes for me because it sees a contrast between the blue and the white. So it's making that selection by default. And that can come in pretty handy when you want to cut someone out of a picture, because you can't just use one technique by itself. You also have the magic wand and the quick selection tool. Magic wand tool works much like the magnetic lasso tool, except it's more like a magic wand. It's not going to be doing anything extra. Simply put, it's where you click and it's going to create a selection based on similar area. So right here we have properties. For instance, tolerance level tells you how tolerant it is of other colors. The higher the tolerance, it means that it's going to make a lower distinguishing between two colors. So if we had like white and light gray, it wouldn't really make a distinguishing amount. It wouldn't have so much of distinguishing between the two colors because the tolerance level would be too high. However, if the tolerance level is too low, it's only going to select just that area alone. So I recommend keeping your tolerance level at about 32, 15, 16, right? Unless you need it to change otherwise. And you also have the ability to sample all layers. So when we get into more than one layer, you can actually select the colors. So it's actually selecting colors. You can actually select them on all layers. Now the quick selection tool rather works like the magic wand tool, but you can actually just drag around, kind of creating a drawing around it. So it gives you more control or more variance, and it works similarly in that you can actually add or subtract by pressing shift to add or alt to subtract. So if I want to subtract some parts, hold alt and do that, which you can see is jumping from shift and alt depending, right? Now those are pretty much all the selection tools. So if you need to select some colors, select an area and an image, just pick a selection tool and select away. Alright, now I'm going to bid you a good day or night depending on which part of the planet you're on, and hopefully you have a great day. And just to point out, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he put you in there, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. I hope you too will have everlasting life. Right? And as I tell my friends, if we don't see each other again, be good, live godly, and I'll see you in the sequel. Take care and see you in the next video.